everyone. Our final presentation today is going to come from Madison Manning. Madison is an artist, scholar, educator, and lesbian based in Chicago. Their research focuses on the intersection of lesbian and femme style practices as visual language, queer craft materiality, and queer joy. Manning is currently an adjunct professor at Chicago State University and maintains an independent research practice. Her work on camp as pedagogical practice has been published in visual arts research and presented at Southeastern College Art Conference and Foundations in Art, Theory, and Education Conference. In the summer of 2021, Madison wrote, researched, and created as the Andrew Glasgow Writer in Residence at Penland School of Craft. I'm going to turn it over to Madison.
Hi, y'all. Hi, it's nice to see some of y'all virtually in the chat, in attendance. My name is Madison Manning, and I'm going to be talking today about the 2020-2021 lesbian earring trend on TikTok. Before we start this, actually, I would like to address my small glasses. I'm sorry, they're my reading glasses now. I don't have big fun glasses today to talk about big fun gay stuff. But this is research that initially started when I was working on my PhD at Virginia Commonwealth University. I started in August of 2020. Really wild time to move to Richmond in May 2020 and start a PhD from your bedroom in August 2020. But that's where I started this research. I ended up leaving the PhD program after being diagnosed with epilepsy. So I moved to Chicago. I'm independently researching regardless. Here's why we're here today, okay? I went to Penland and I got to research for an entire month about lesbian earrings. I had this idea that lesbian earrings were the new hanky code, lesbian earrings on TikTok. But there's a bunch of pieces that I found it hard to explain without a visual. Anyone who knows me is not surprised to know that I always want to be friends with like the cool older lady in the room, like cool big glasses, everything, right? But when I was talking to those women in line for lunch at the Pines, those women like live in the woods. They like make their own paper and vegetables. Like they're not terminally online. So that is a huge gap in my audience. A lot of you are here today are follow under that audience of you make your own vegetables, you don't live on the internet, and good for you, you know. That being said, there are also people who were living in it, that like the teens I was talking to. You're living in it, and it's not their fault. It's not a teen's fault to know the entire history of the internet as they're trying to survive post-plague, post-apocalypse in 2022. But it's important to close those gaps, to talk about the history for those who didn't participate in the internet, but also talk of the history for those who have only participated in the internet and cannot remember a time before the internet. So today I'm going to work to close those two gaps, okay? We are all together going to go on a brief journey of the internet and social medias, which will set us up to understand what it was like to be a lesbian on monoculture internet, pre and post TikTok. We'll unpack that a little bit. Again, we're setting up. Once we understand why the internet and the algorithm are so important to learning how to lesbian, we're going to throw in the pandemic lockdown, yearning, historic and contemporary, and attitudes towards the word lesbians, ultimately wrapped up in the significance of the earnest handmaid. Before we continue, the standard E principle is something that I have established in my work. My work is for, by queer people. I'm a lesbian doing this research for other lesbians, for other queer people who need that citation. I want this to be a pedagogical tool for students and educators. This work is to validate, to give the citation, to give that academic support to these young, weird, new, queer TikTok bedroom DIY jewelers, okay? This work is not to be exploited. Another setup for this, we will be talking about TikTok a lot today. We do not have time to talk about the implications of TikTok at large, okay? They are very real, and I would love to talk about them another time. Like, they're so fun to talk about. It's a whole other presentation. That being said, we will not be talking about TikTok and data concerns, TikTok and national security concerns. We will briefly be going by shadow banning, which is something that really affects LGBT, BIPOC, people of color. We can get into that more later. If you want to talk about that, I'm here for that. We are specifically talking about one bubble in the pipeline to that bubble. This is just 30 minutes, okay? We're just talking about one bubble and the pipeline to that bubble. That being said, you can end up detached from reality on TikTok if you're not careful. We're going to choose the route to good today. If we use the route for good, this is what can happen. Brief history of the internet pre-lockdown. If you wouldn't mind, I would really like if y'all could just type in which internet you were on in your teens. I'm really hoping that there's some pre-internet people in here. I also hope there's some currently a teen people in here. Those are like the margins of the borders, right? That we're talking about today. I had AIM, MySpace, Face. I'm a little bit of like D through F. That's kind of my vibe. TikTok ultimately is a mix of all of these sites, but to get to the mix of the sites, to understand how TikTok is working, we need to separate all the ingredients, okay? These are screenshots from my 31-year-old partner, Amelia, a former terminally online lesbian. She found these archival images and can confirm their authenticity. So 1999, 1997, AIM Instant Messenger. 1997, we're using AIM to talk to each other. We have little away messages. Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. We're simply talking. Fan forum. This comes in 1998. Okay, we're building. Fan forums for like-minded people where you can go talk about your interest in your life. Of course, it needs to be stated that of course you can talk about gay stuff on AIM. You can message I am a lesbian, of course. On fan forum in the 90s, there was plenty of juicy fan forums about Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There's queer codes have been in everything, and queer codes have been communicated through all of these sites, but in small ways that had to be done by the user. I had to know how to search for Willow on Buffy on fan forum to find that lesbian hive. So now there's some more screenshots of fan forums, live journals, an online blog, more personalized than fan forum. Again, it's important to say that you could be queer on the internet here. This was a super gay place, but you had to know to go to LiveJournal. You had to know that site existed. And that was not, hello? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I thought someone was in chiming for me. Am I good?
You're good. That was just an alien. Don't worry.
Okay, bye, alien. You had to know these places existed. It's hard to find that they existed. 2003, we get MySpace, social media with your real image. This is the first time this is happening. And we're getting a two-way street of friendship. LiveJournal, you could have a photo of SpongeBob as your picture and a fake name, John in the tree, whatever. And no one ever knows anything about you. You can talk about your personal life. You can talk about your favorite show. You can talk about how you relate to the sapphiness of Buffy and of Xena Warrior Princess, okay? But no one has to actually know what you look like, right? What your name is, who you are as a person. Facebook starts, in theory, doing this with your profile picture and the idea that a friend request, you request a friend, you accept a friend. It's a two-way street, in theory, of friendship. Even more specific, we get MySpace, 2004. Okay, originally meant for students, from the same school. Same idea with friend request. If someone requests you, you accept it. You have each equal parties have acted to be friends to share this information with each other. Shareability continues into YouTube. Okay. YouTube can be anyone's life. This is the first time we're really starting to see this April 23, 2005 video, me at the zoo. Who is this man? I have absolutely no idea, but he went to the zoo and he wanted to show everybody, and that is his right on YouTube. Okay. This though is a slight turn away again from the close community and fan forum on LiveJournal. It's not talking communities. You can watch people later in YouTube. We obviously develop YouTube cults, so to speak loosely, YouTube followings, YouTube creators. We really start to follow that. But at early YouTube, it was some funny videos that were posted by people with the ability to film a video in 2005 and to publish it on the internet in 2005. That is not a lot of people. So to get onto YouTube, early YouTube, you inherently, for whatever reasons, had access to the internet and access to video camera, and that was not the norm in 2005. We get to Twitter. We're building. Twitter, 2006, short, political, personal. That was the point of this app, right? Short, political, personal, quippy. Yes, community, quips. We get to Tumblr, 2007. This is an image blog journal that allowed some of the waxing poetic of LiveJournal while honing the community space through tags. This is the Tumblr dashboard circa 2007. These are all separate platforms. These are all separate platforms in separate times, offering sort of community, sort of the ability to talk to this person about this idea. But again, you had to know the website existed. You had to go find the website. And then once you were on the website, you had to go into the website deeper. The internet always oscillates between broad and specific. Fan forums let anyone, anywhere, talk about the 8-episode Summer of 2000 show, Young Americans, for 20 years. This was a show on the WB in 2000. It had 8 episodes, and that fan forum went on for 20 years. It closed down in 2020. Incredible. Is that an alien?
I'm not sure what it is.
Another alien, yes.
Yeah.
It's okay. I just want to make sure that it's not like me messing up.
It's because we're talking about the internet. That's why.
You're so right. Wants to participate. Hey, girl. The point of this, though, is finding the pockets of the internet that we feel comfortable is what keeps us coming back to the internet. Okay. This, of course, can be used for evil. We are not talking about the use of evil in online communities today. I am choosing to specifically talk about how the internet and insular pockets can create queer language, queer confidence, queer success, queer joy, queer art, etc. We're not choosing to focus on what happens in the dark communities, although they are there and just as easy to come across. To set this up a little more about lesbian TikTok before we get there, the idea of naming the types of the internet come from Black Twitter. Black Twitter, before there was lesbian TikTok, film TikTok, book TikTok, etc., there was Black Twitter. Remember, Twitter comes about in 2007. Meredith D. Clark is a journalist and scholar, associate professor at Northeastern University, currently writing a book on Black Twitter. This semester, this current semester. This semester, she is teaching a course called Black Twitter and Black Digital Culture. She goes on to say, this course positions Black Twitter as a point of entry for examining how Black people in the United States and throughout the world use digital and social media to connect with each other while creating the culture and trends that demand the world's attention. Dr. Clark defines Black Twitter as a network of culturally connected communicators using the platform to draw attention to issues that of concern to the Black community. I always explain to people that Black Twitter does not have a gateway, a secret knot. It is not a separate platform. It's all in the way that people use the platform to draw the attention back to the Black communities. Black Twitter is a place of fun and function, of jokes and activism, okay? This is where we're really starting to see both things happening at once in a community on a public platform. We can have Jay-Z at the lemonade party getting kind of shaded, right? We also have the incredible Brianna Newsom getting the Confederate flag down. That was happening in real time on Black Twitter. That parlays us into gay Twitter. Once we have Black Twitter, other types of internets are established. We get gay Twitter. We can jokingly talk about RuPaul on gay Twitter. We can talk about how the internet sometimes has to ask if it's gay to drink water, because sometimes men think hygiene's gay. We won't get into that today. And just like fan forum and the internet as a whole, there's always a place for the fans. This is Big Brother Twitter, the secret Big Brother fan, okay? This is a place, so notice without hashtags, these things are coming onto your feed because that's what you're starting to cultivate as your feed. From 2012 to 2015, there was simply nowhere online like Vine. You could get lost in Vine like it was Wikipedia, and you could laugh at Vine like it was YouTube. It wielded the old internet's spontaneity and randomness to new socials, to the new web's scale and diversity. There was 200 million users at the height of Vine. TikTok currently has 1 billion users, just to keep in reference. 200 million at Vine's height, 1 billion TikTok today. Only a generation of teens and young adults newly empowered with smartphones, a wacko device with a web connection and a video camera, and the link to the whole staggering breadth of global pop culture could have produced Vine. A medium that requires a willingness to show off to friends and strangers, a freedom to look silly and stupid, and hours of waiting around time to workshop ideas. This is on the death of Vine. This is an article from The Atlantic in 2016 when Vine shut down. Vine, additionally, was an incredible place post-Black Twitter for Black creators to succeed, to rise, to be paid content creators. This is a dissertation from Kentia Nace at the University of Illinois. It just came out. This is really interesting. And she writes about the everyday celebrity cameo, content remix, Black Boy Joy, the dozens, music, dance, Black content creators leveraging punchy storytelling to compel the world's internet users to watch and adapt Vine. This practice is based as Black digital efficacy in the study, the process by which technology is given direction, labor, and Black aesthetic to propel it forward. We know this. We know that culture is largely, we've seen from the other presentations, we've seen from the nameplate before me, we've seen from Dr. Pass's presentation, there's always an issue. There's a race issue with there was a race issue on the internet. Vine is a place where you start to see Black creators experiencing Black joy. It's a 6-second video. That's it. It's just a 6-second video, but it's fun. It's a nice way to see a normal person. I never could have seen this video on Fan Forum, but now I could never have seen this video on YouTube. This is just a video that exists on Vine. Sophia Noble's 2018 Algorithms of Oppression is absolutely necessary to this foundation as well. One of the reasons Black Twitter was so special is because it existed despite a racist algorithm, which Sophia uncovers in her book. So Vine announces its death in October of 2016. This is pre-Trump presidency. Jokes were more simple. Things were different. A joke could simply be an image of a meme that's relatable and saying, haha, I do that.
I do that.
That was the joke on the internet before Trump came. Before things so drastically changed on the internet. Part 2, brief history of the internet post-lockdown. Okay, it's 2020, cut to 2020. Trump has been president for 4 years. He's threatened to shut down TikTok over national security concerns. One of the things we're not talking about today. We were in a pandemic. The kids born post 9/11 were of internet age. 60% of TikTok users are between the age of 16 and 24. 60% of those billion people on TikTok are ages 16 to 24. The TikTok algorithm. I know we are still building. There's so much building in this to get to the lesbian earrings. We're about to get to the good gay shit. I promise. TikTok takes pieces from each social media that walked before it with algorithms of oppression in mind. It is possible to train your algorithm to be anti-racist. It is possible to get into an algorithm that is so good or so deep in the algorithm that you don't see racist bigotry, etc. Of course, there is a flip side of that, which is dark. Here's how you do this on TikTok. By saving, sharing, and importantly, training your algorithm to get you the perfect for you page, all you have to do is press on your screen with your finger, and this not interested thing will come up. You can click hide video from users, hide videos from the sound. If someone comes up, oh my God, I hate this racist video, click, don't like it. Oh my God, I love this video of a beautiful gay woman. Double click. It's gonna learn that you like that, what you don't. You're training it while it's training you. This is really important because that means that the TikTok algorithm knows what you like before you say you like it. This is so different from fanform. I found out that I prefer she, they pronouns from TikTok. I had absolutely no language to understand those pronouns before someone on TikTok laid it out for me in a visual format, in an audio format, in a text format. The captions, the audio, the visuals behind the person and a person explaining it are all right there on one screen. Every single piece of social media comes together to make this perfect storm of TikTok, a social media. Setting all the internet aside for a few minutes, let's learn about lesbians. Who are they? What do they wear? Okay. First 2 questions you ask when you come out as a lesbian. Incredibly quick, necessary reminder that lesbians are not just women. Lesbians are not TERFs. Lesbians are non-binary. We're trans. We're femme. We're queer. We are non-men. Lesbians have to be something else, a non-woman, a non-man, a product of society, not a product of nature. For a lesbian, this goes further than the refusal of the role as woman. It is refusal of economic, ideological, political power of a man. We lesbians and non-lesbians as well knew this before the beginning of the lesbian and feminist movement. To be a lesbian is to exist outside of the patriarchal power structure, just like super simply. Lesbians are also beautiful and elusive. Though we couldn't have said so, our lesbian bodies were making lesbian culture by filling the only space we had that permitted us desire each other in public, that allowed us to make a public of each other. This is from Catherine Lord's Looking for a Museum. Lesbians are an other. They're beautiful, they're elusive and unattainable if you don't know the language to find them. Now that I'm about to be 30, I'm enraptured in love. I have an incredible partner. 5 years ago, I didn't know how to talk to a woman in a bar unless I was like blackout drunk at a gay club, maybe. It's how do we find this desire? How do we find the culture? What does it mean as we read on to dress as to rejected femininity? I really want to say thank you so much to Dr. Victoria for your incredible talk at the beginning. You really set up so much context of historical fashion for women, historical fashion for queer women, the policing around that, etc. There's lists of how to come out. If you Google, right, of Googling what's gay, but they seem really advanced. I don't have Doc Martens on day when I'm coming out. Googling how to be a lesbian before TikTok in these old versions of the internet that I'm showing you, this was a uniquely confusing time period. We didn't have, for those who only had the internet, Stonebridge Blues isn't helping me the first day that it come out. I'm living in a suburb. That's not helping me. I don't know any lesbian women to model myself after. I look at the media, we'll get to that, and it's not helpful. But ultimately in that pre-TikTok era of what is a lesbian, you understand that there is this yearning and all this research that you're having to do. You don't just simply like Bobby, right? You think you like Susie, and now there's a whole rabbit hole that goes along with liking Susie and what that means patriarchally, misogynistically, in society, etc. One thing is for certain is the yearning. In the learning of becoming, there is yearning. Whether promised later or understood immediately, the yearning is historic for lesbians and is ingrained and it is taught. There is always an element of hiding, wanting second meanings. We see it in disappointing movies like Portrait with a Lady on Fire. We see it with famous artists, Emily Dickinson, famous lesbian, famous yearner. With all of the history, all the possibility of lesbian happiness is very rarely presented. We have, of course, the kill your gays trope, but we're learning just from lesbians, the yearning's never going to pay off. So what? I finally go online. Again, this is before TikTok. There's no way I want to dress like the girls who are running around with a skateboard and their hat on. I want to dress like the cool old ladies at Penland. How do I find those people though? So how do I get to find those people? Aside from yearning, getting to finding back the people in a minute, lesbian fashion historically hasn't included teenagers. So when you're finding all these things of how to find these people, sure, you can flag with a carabiner, a pinky ring, a historical violet, but what is that doing for you as a small teen coming to terms with your sexual identity, expression, pride, etc.? How do you know if you're a lesbian? You Google it, right? You Google it, okay? Here's what I saw when I was a kid. I'm not kidding. Not helpful whatsoever, not helpful whatsoever. So then you Google, am I a lesbian? Well, this certainly doesn't help anything either. Lesbians get mushed up into misogyny constantly, okay? This is really hard at the beginning of the coming out process. Question one, when you walk past a hot girl, do you get slightly aroused? Okay, one, I don't hate a girl because she's more beautiful than me. That is patriarchal competition. Two, I don't know what being aroused is because I'm Googling for the first time, am I gay? I'm a young teen. What does that even mean? Three, compet tells me I can recognize a girl is hot without that I can recognize a girl as hot without being equated as gay. What is compet though, Madison? Compet, this document, I have been talking for 25 minutes to get to this document. This document is unbelievably important in the turn of finding out your lesbian identity, which we will get to again about the name in a minute. The original post is since deleted on Tumblr, but in 2018, a woman posted, "Am I a lesbian?" master doc. It is a 33-page document that takes you through every single thought you've ever wondered about being a lesbian. There's a section that explains your previous crushes on men, whether real, famous, fictional. Here are some of the too long, didn't read points. Tumblr takes porn off the site. Okay, 2018, right after the Master Doc comes out. Tumblr dies. It still exists, but no one wanted to go after there was no porn. Peak hashtag lesbian earrings. I'm going to be just a few minutes over. I'm sorry. Like 5 minutes over. That's it.
It's okay.
2020. We get to 2020 with all this information we have of the internet, all this information. This is the moment where people are finally coming out and reinventing themselves. It's the pandemic. We're in lockdown. We're all just downloaded TikTok. I downloaded TikTok in lockdown. I thought, oh, I have some time to kill. And I continue to kill many hours on TikTok every day. The Master Doc goes viral on TikTok. We start to find this really nice acceptance of lesbians. Is this going to play for me? No. We start to see these images, these TikToks of, you could put these earrings on some lesbian and some lesbian would buy them. You could put any of these on earrings and some lesbian would buy them. It's me, I'm some lesbian. We've gotten to this point at the internet where lesbians had finally found this crucial space, young lesbians, where they had this entire breadth of the internet, like fine, but we were finally in a place where we could talk about it together. These lesbian earrings were Gen Z, 16 to 24, quite literally crafting their own queer code by actually crafting earrings. The more homemade, the better. A quote from Making Camp. I have the book linked. There is a passionate, exuberant quality to the extravagant aesthetic of camp as captured in the statement. As captured in the statement, it's too much, which means it's just right. Without this passion, notes Sontag, what results instead is a chic and pale aesthetic, is chic, a pale cousin. I'm so sorry. It's just too much, which means it's just right. If it's not too much, then it's just chic, which is the inferior cousin to camp. These earrings that are being created by these new artists, these Gen Z TikTok queer artist influencers, they're coming after post Master Doc. We've had the entirety of the internet, and we finally got to 2018 where we understand what a lesbian actually is. We understand what camp is. The participants, the makers, the creators of lesbian earrings have read notes on camp. They've heard what the celebrity co-chairs Serena Williams, Lady Gaga, and Harry Styles have to say about notes on camp. Camp is established in theory and practiced package for 16 to 24-year-old audiences nicely through the Met Gala in 2019, which we were, for better or worse, had to relive in 2020 when there was no Met Gala in 2020. Lesbian earrings also exist in a space post Drag Race, an Emmy award-winning show since 2017. To be queer is to be celebrated, to be proud. Attitudes in media towards queer people, not just gay men, have been absolutely shifted, substantially. This is on BH1. I don't have to go onto Fan Forum. I can just watch my TV and I can go on TikTok and immediately see this. We've watched drag queens succeed and fail in the Drag on the Dime challenge. If you've ever been in one of my classrooms, I've definitely given a Drag on Design challenge where I give you a non-conventional material to turn it into a look, okay? We literally see the queens making these outfits. Sometimes it's hot glue, sometimes it turns out camp, sometimes it's Lala Ree's bags, okay? We circle back to the I can do that attitude with the queer attitude of I can do that. Instead of, haha, I do that. I can do that. We're living in a world where queer joy is accessible. They wanted to show off their earring collections, share silly, fun things inside their home, handcrafted. These are upcycled. These are shrinky dinks. These are repurposed household items. As if lesbian.
You could put these on earrings and some lesbian would buy them. You could put any of these on earrings and some lesbian.
That was the audio from the earlier one. As a lesbian by itself, the term lesbian earrings is open to lesbians, bisexuals, non-binary, femmes, butch, etc. The audience, whether real or imagined, must be bifurcated so that there is always someone for whom the performance is taken seriously and for someone who is in on the joke. To be in on the lesbian earring joke is to be in on all of this. Nod, a 21 non-binary creator, says that they make earrings to counter assumptions about what lesbians look like, because I know someone who looks like me needs to see us thriving, and that's what I want to keep doing, especially through the medium of earring making. This is from an article in Them magazine or Them online in 2022. Here's a screenshot from Etsy under the lesbian earrings tag. Here's what it looks like.
Do you ever just wear a simple outfit, but you don't think it's gay enough, so you just say,
I'm sorry, I know that audio is like really abrasive. That's the moment of lesbian earrings. Pandemic, handmaking, drag race, camp. There's nothing to do. You just discovered you're a lesbian from the Master Dog. People online are making earrings. Okay, cool, let's make them. So what happens after the hashtag? It's 2022. Now you have to talk to another lesbian. Okay, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna need like 2 more minutes. You have to talk to another lesbian. Yearning, again, is part of the whole thing about being a lesbian is yearning in theory. This act of duplicity. The duplicity of yearning isn't malicious, rather festive, vitalizing, and affectionately nostalgic. Behind the straight public sense in which something can be taken, one has found a private, zany experience of the thing. Again, going back to the pre-internet of this all and the abundance of the internet that Gen Z, the creators of these earrings, have on their shoulders. These kids are born in a post 9/11 world. Okay. They're taught lesbian is a dirty word from the jump, from Janice Ian and Mean Girls. We'll get to her next. And an issue come out as a lesbian in quarantine. How do you talk to another woman? How do you talk to another woman without looking like this guy? How do you go flirt with a woman that's not predatory, that doesn't make women feel uncomfortable or make you seem predatory or make anyone feel predatory?
I don't know why I did it. I guess it's because I've got a big on you.
In Mean Girls, Janice Ian can't say lesbian.
I don't hate the word lesbian. I just, whenever somebody talks to me about my sexuality, I just say that I'm gay. Not the word that flows off the tongue for me, if that makes sense.
So I'm gonna like quickly wrap up, but and skip a few things. I'm sorry, I spent a long time talking about the internet. I really thought that was going to be like a foundation to this, but there's probably quicker ways I could have gotten to this phenomenon. Regardless, lesbian earrings provided lesbians, even for a moment, new lesbians with a sense of pride in the word lesbian. To say the word lesbian is radical still. In Mean Girls, Janice Ian is ostracized because she's presumed to be a lesbian. Jojo Siwa is perhaps the most famous TikTok lesbian, and she still can't say the word lesbian without saying lesbian. A lesbian earring is a confident phrasing of lesbian that gives you an opportunity to go up and talk to another presumed lesbian in public in a non-predatory way. This is an involvement in craft. This is a new hands-on way to get involved in craft in the history of making. When you see these students in the hall with their handmade earrings, please ask them to be in your jewelry class. Please invite them to a studio. Please continue to work with these young lesbian students and their queer art, expressing their queer joy. Coming out as a lesbian doesn't have to be completely horrifying, because you can have lesbian earrings. I
don't know why I did it. Simply because I've got a big lesbian crush on it.
So lesbian had, can be reappropriated, can be all the symbols and the signs. They can be a beautiful thing to bring our community together. And I'm sorry that I spent so much time setting up the history of the internet instead of talking about some of those symbols. But I would love to continue to talk about this another time. I'm an artist, I'm an academic. Bring me to your school. Let's do some studio visits with your queer students. I want to talk to them about their queer work. I want to see what they're making. I'm an artist. I want to make queer jewelry with them. Hands-on fun workshops. Let's do it. Well, thanks for letting me talk.
Madison, I think that the building up of the kind of the story of the internet is always interesting, so don't apologize. I wanted to ask what earrings you're wearing. Can you let us see?
Oh,
what
yeah.
earrings-
So I'm wearing a pair of just costume jewelry with another pair buckled in on the bottom.
Oh,
Make
clever. I like it.
layer system.
Cool. We did have a comment from Trisha Smith. As a high school teacher, I was witnessing this over the last 2 years and had no idea how amazingly empowering this movement was beyond
Awesome.
my room. So
That
super
makes me
interesting.
That makes me so happy. That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
These comments are nice to read. Thank you.
So I want to just welcome all of our speakers back on. We are running just a little bit over. We're only going to keep you for about 6 more minutes. I wanted to see if there were any other questions that our community had for our 4 speakers, 5, but 4 presentations. Feel free to come off mute if you have a question for anyone. We're getting some great comments, so this is wonderful. Thank you so much. There was a comment earlier about sort of the timeline aspect of how we did the presentations, which was not necessarily intentional, but it was really wonderful to start with suffragette and end with the internet. Jenny Penguindum asked about, what about gay men? Does the earring code apply?
They have so many of their own codes. That's what's so exciting about this, is gay men have been able to signal to each other for so long with hanky code. That was what originally started this research of the hanky code, of having a certain color of handkerchief on a certain part of your gene could signal to another man and that you're both gay men. Lesbians do not have stuff like this. It is not chic. It is not camp to be a lesbian. Gay men have had the codes. That's what's so empowering about this in particular, in saying the word lesbian, is making lesbian earrings, is that this is carving out a space for non-men, for non-gay men.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Jenny, for that question and for answering it, Madison. Getting some nice comments. Thanking everybody. A question: will these presentation recordings be available? They absolutely will. You can send us an email. They'll probably be available for us to email out sometime tomorrow afternoon. It takes a little while for Zoom to process it. We do have a question from Carrie Ann. How does the wearing of this style of earring by non-queer folk affect the lesbian earring code in your estimation?
So, hi, Carrie Ann. If you were wearing a lesbian earring, you would immediately be signaled just like a cool ally, right? Like when the right person is wearing it, it reads ally, it reads gay. When you see it on ally, when you see it on someone, but it's not clicking in your brain, that's where maybe they just got it as an earring. Maybe it's not for them. They're not in on that joke. They're not in on the camp with us. But you, Carrie, can be in on it with your ally earrings. And start the conversation to be a place where those things can get made in your class. What if they don't know? Then you're not in on the joke, and that's okay. You don't have to understand. Like, it's not, I totally don't understand, like, culturally, I don't have a nameplate. I didn't have like a like bloomers growing up, right? But all these things historically still matter, even if I don't know exactly why they matter. But this talk was an effort to just say a little bit of why they matter. I hope that answers the question.
Amelia, I wasn't quite sure what you meant by what is the best way to engage online for people to like your jewelry? Is that a question from Madison, or is that a general question for our speakers? Generally. So yeah, so what is the best way for people to engage with each of you? Is it via your websites, Instagram?
Instagram, my website.
Instagram. Awesome. Okay, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you to our speakers. Thank you to our guests. It's just been so wonderful to be here together. Again, we're all kind of, we've gotten off online, gotten off Zoom. It was nice to come back to Zoom together. These presentations were so compelling, and it was so generous of each of you to share your research with us today. As I said, this will be available as a recording that we can send to you, so just reach out to us if you want that. Engage with our speakers, go to their websites, learn about them, look out for Documenting the Nameplates book in 2023, look out for Georgina's future collaborations, and maybe another talk with her coming up soon, all very exciting. I did want to mention that our symposium is also paired with a making challenge to our community, and that community is as vast as anyone wants to define it. So our making challenge this year is connected to signs, symbols, and signals, and we're inviting artists to create jewelry or wearables that implicitly or explicitly act as signifiers, symbols, and classifications. The work might yell or very quietly convey a coded message that might be viewed by many or read by only one person, to nod to what Madison and Carrie were just talking about. You can learn more about the call by visiting our website. Elliot's going to drop that link in the chat. And again, anyone is welcome to apply to that. The timeline you can find that on our website and that link. We would love for many people on this call to apply, even maybe some of our speakers. Lastly, I just want to take the opportunity to encourage you to donate to the Baltimore Jewelry Center. So much of our free programming like today's event is possible because of generous donations made by individuals, many of whom are on this call. Any amount supports our work, including free events like this symposium, supports our residency, supports scholarships, supports our kids and teens and workforce development program, and we would love to have your support. You can donate by visiting the link that, again, Elliot's dropping in the chat. That is all we have for you. Some more comments coming in if the speakers want to just peek at those. And thanks, Lydia. Thanking all the speakers and to the BJC for making this event possible. Appreciate the shout out to the staff. Former staff member Lydia Martin. Yeah, it's just so wonderful to have everyone here together. Hopefully we'll see you soon for another event, and yeah, go enjoy the rest of your Saturday, wherever you are.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.